Hello, my name's Matt the Tattoo Robot, and today I'm going to walk you through my process for drawing a neo-traditional tattoo skull design. Hopefully this process helps you out with your own artwork. Last week I showed you the approach that I take when drawing a traditional style skull. This week obviously I am doing the neo-traditional, and next week I will be tackling the Nu Skool skull. After I finish drawing my skull today, I'm going to show you how I incorporate that skull into a rose design that I did a few months ago as part of another tutorial series, which you can find by clicking the link here. For all three of these skull videos, I'm going to use the same initial sketch. But Matt, why would you do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason is that even though these three skulls will look dramatically different, the same basic principles will be applied. Now let's erase that canvas and get started. If you watched any of my drawings in the past, then you know that I love to start everything with a circle, which is exactly what I did here. Next comes a vertical line, and because this is going to be 3/4 view, it's shifted slightly back and has an arc to it. From there, let's build a boxy kind of triangle with another vertical line that connects to the front of our circle. Next, I elongate the skull just a little bit and draw in my eye line. This is the point where the center of my eye sockets will rest. I should probably draw a vertical line representing the center of the face as well, but it's pretty easy to get ahead of yourself when you draw something so often. Next comes the eye sockets, represented by circles, and the nasal cavity. The eyes obviously sit along the eye line that I drew earlier. The nasal cavity is nothing more than just a rounded triangle with a little divot at the bottom. And now we make a little smiley face. The vertical line in the back represents the area where the jawbone attaches to the cranium underneath the cheekbone. And then that smile line is where the top teeth meet the bottom teeth. And now we get to start refining. Gonna make that brow a little bit more prominent and draw in the cheekbone on the far side. Once that's in there, I draw the near side cheekbone. Front side of the cheekbone, it dips down a little bit. This is where the teeth transition from being in the front to being underneath. Behind and slightly under the cheekbone is where the spine would connect. So we drop the back of the skull down ever so slightly, and then we move on to the zygomatic arch, which is just a fancy way of saying the top of the cheekbone. That line will swing upwards and form kind of a C shape opposite the eye socket. Now I'm going to adjust the eye sockets. Instead of being just plain old circles, they need to be rounded squares. Now that I'm happy with where I'm at, I can start refining the drawing a little bit further. I can start adding the details to the back of the jawbone, the separation between the jawbone and the teeth, and of course the teeth themselves. This is about the point that I can change things up based on which style I am currently working in. So this will conclude the generic instruction portion of the video, and we'll move on to the style-specific stuff. For this neo-traditional skull, I'm just going to continue to build upon the base that I have in there for the traditional skull. Neo means new, as in new traditional. So I'm going to add just a little bit more detail by adding extra angles and maybe some shading lines, which aren't necessary, but they look kind of cool, so I'll add them to this project. I'm also going to add some circles as eyes. Again, not necessary, but they're kind of fun, so why not? This right here would be plenty of detail. If you are following along and you want to start color, this would be a good point to do so, as the rules of neo-traditional are pretty simple. Bold outlines, the line work must be clean, modern colors, a sense of dimension, but not exaggerated. I, however, am going to be adding a little bit more. It's time for some color. Have you ever heard the acronym KISS? Well, it stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. and it can be applied here. Don't go too crazy with color, or you'll find yourself in Nu Skool territory. Try to work with a limited amount. 5 colors plus black is usually safe. I'm just going to fill in the eye sockets and nostrils with one color, use another for the skull, and add a smooth gradient from the bottom. And then I'm going to change the color of the eye sockets because I had a different plan in mind and had to rethink it because of what I'm going to add to this drawing later. Then we move on to some shading. Now, if this were a tattoo, obviously I would start with black first, but that's not how it works on the iPad. So, based on what you are using as your medium, work accordingly. I'm just adding black to all those areas that I feel would be in shadow, which are the eye sockets, nostrils, the base of the teeth, and anything that is under or behind something else. And stop. There it is, a fully complete neo-traditional skull. But if you'd like to go a little bit further, we can still do that because we don't play by the rules. So let's add some white. I'm going to highlight all the areas that will catch a little bit of light. So top of the skull, top of the eyebrows, bridge of the nose, so on and so forth. And that's it. Are you going to try out my technique? If you do, don't forget to make it your own, and then drop a link to your artwork in the comments below. Did you happen to catch the neo-traditional rose tutorial I did a few months ago? If you did, stick around after the outro. I did this artwork with that rose in mind, so I could combine the two. Check it out and let me know what you think.